A minute-by-minute dissection of what Donald Trump was doing and not doing as the riot overwhelmed the Capitol, with dramatic audio from Mike Pence's security detail, frantic and fearful that the mob was blocking their escape routes. Congressional correspondent Rachel Scott starts us off from Capitol Hill. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning. This was gripping new testimony, never before seen video. The January 6th Select Committee describing a White House in chaos as the Capitol came under attack. Lawmakers insisting for 187 minutes. Former President Donald Trump not only failed to act, but he chose not to. This morning, the never before seen video of Donald Trump 24 hours after his supporters stormed the Capitol.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
The outtakes obtained by the January 6th committee show a president who struggled to say the election was over and condemn the rioters.
To those who broke the law, you will pay. You do not represent our movement. You do not represent our country. And if you broke the law, you can't say that. I'm not gonna, I already said you will pay. But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
Sources say it took an hour for Trump to record a nearly 3-minute-long video. His daughter Ivanka heard from behind the camera.
Just take it out.
My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote.
The committee zeroing in on the 187 minutes between Trump's speech urging his supporters to march to the Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
And this video finally telling them to go home.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
Accusing the former president of a dereliction of duty, saying Trump knew within 15 minutes of leaving the stage that the Capitol was under attack, but instead sat in his dining room and watched the violence unfold on television.
If the president had wanted to make a statement and address the American people, he could have been on camera almost instantly.
His former White House counsel, Pat Cipollone, says he pleaded with him to intervene.
I think I was pretty clear there needed to be an immediate and forceful response statement, public statement that people need to leave the Capitol now.
But advisors say Trump resisted, not even making a single call to military or law enforcement officials.
I can't think of anybody, on that day who didn't want people to get out of the Capitol once particularly once the violence started. No. I mean,
what about the president?
Yeah.
She said the staff. So I answered.
No, I said in the White House.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you said who else on the staff. I can't reveal communications, but obviously I think, yeah.
Lawmakers say at the time the violence was getting out of hand, Trump sent out a tweet criticizing his own vice president for lacking courage. 2 Trump officials resigned immediately.
It was him pouring gasoline on the fire and making it much worse.
That was the moment that I decided that I was going to resign, that would be my last day at the White House.
Rioters chanted to hang the vice president. For the first time, the committee revealed distressing radio transmission from the Secret Service protecting Mike Pence.
If we lose any more time, we may lose the ability to leave. They are on the second floor, moving in now. We may want to consider getting out and leaving now.
One anonymous White House security official testified agents called to say goodbye to family members. The committee also highlighting the actions of Republicans, a call from leader Kevin McCarthy to Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner.
He told me he was getting really ugly over at the Capitol and said, please, anything you could do to help, I would appreciate it. And I got the sense that, they were scared.
And this photo of Senator Josh Hawley spotted raising his fist. A Capitol police officer told the committee that gesture riled up the crowd. Later, Hawley was seen fleeing for his safety as the mob broke in. In these newly released images, congressional leaders huddled together. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell on the phone with defense officials.
We need you to get the building cleared, give us the okay so we can go back in session and finish up the people's business as soon as possible.
Hours after the violence, Congress certified the election for President Joe Biden, and Trump walked back to the residence with one final comment.
As he was gathering his things in the dining room to leave, President Trump reflected on the day's events with a White House employee. President Trump said nothing to the employee about the attack. He said only, quote, "Mike Pence let me down."
Former President Donald Trump released a statement attacking Sarah Matthews, one of the witnesses. As for what comes next for the January 6th Select Committee, well, they announced there will be more hearings in September. Lawmakers say they have more work to do, George.
Not done yet. Rachel Scott, thanks very much. It's been our Chief Washington correspondent, John Carl, Chief Legal Analyst, Dan Abramson. John, let me begin with you. It's really hard to imagine a more damning portrait of a president during a national security crisis.
Well, particularly what you just heard in Rachel's piece at the end there, that at the end of that day, the very last words that Donald Trump says before retiring for the night is he turns to his valet in the Oval Office and he says, "Mike Pence let me down." Even after all that had gone down, he thought he was the victim on January 6th. This is a portrait of presidential inaction. He didn't call the Department of Homeland Security, he didn't call the Pentagon, he didn't call the Justice Department, he didn't call anybody who could help restore order. But it wasn't just inaction. Who did he call? He called Republican senators. He called Rudy Giuliani. He was still trying to overturn the election, even as his supporters were rampaging through the Capitol behind. As Adam Kinzinger put it, this is not a president who failed to act. This is a president who chose not to act.
The question, Dan Abrams, is it criminal action?
Right. And just to follow up on something John said, it's clear that his words mattered. But just as important is he continues to say the same things today. I mean, everything we heard about what Donald Trump has been saying about the stolen election and what the impact it had was continues to be repeated to this day. So as a legal matter, though, I don't think it got you any closer to a possible indictment of the president. Meaning, if they were going to likely indict Donald Trump before this proceeding, that's going to move forward. If they were not, that didn't get you any closer. Why? Because I don't think it provided any more connection with the actual violence itself. But I do think you're continuing to see significant activity with regard to the fake electors. And I do think that the investigation is very hot there and that you may see an indictment, but not necessarily Donald Trump himself.
That's at the core of the Georgia prosecutions, potential prosecutions as well.
Correct. Well, the Georgia investigation is almost a separate one from the fake electors, which is the investigation into Donald Trump himself. That is a slightly separate question from the fake electors, where you're talking about literally documentation that is being submitted that is saying these are the actual electors from particular states when they weren't the electors. So that's an area where I think that the investigation is very, very active.
Meantime, John, we saw how much threat Mike Pence was under during the January 6th riots, and now it appears at least that both he and former President Trump are gearing up for new presidential runs.
Yeah, and I fully expect, George, that Mike Pence will run for president, even if Donald Trump also runs, putting them head to head. It's been a long time coming. Pence has been so reluctant to utter any words critical of Donald Trump, but that has changed. You know, frankly, I think he missed an opportunity by deciding not to testify before this hearing and making that break decisive. But clearly, those two are on a collision course.
John Carl, Dan Abrams, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.